did start the stream at 3 o'clock. Can you let me know if you can hear me? Please. Because I think one of my USB ports is dodgy. Yep, one of my USB ports is dodgy. This is just wonderful. Anyway, no picture and wonky sound. That's charming.
Sorry about that. I sounded like R2D2. Do I sound better now? Please tell me I sound better now. Hello, Linda van Rooyen, Paul Hart, Joe Emilio, and Mr. Punisher. We are still stuffing a pillow. We are. But from now on, I'm actually going to be streaming from this corner. So I might just sit and do stuff or not. I don't know. Is it much better? I have a dodgy USB port on my laptop. So I think that's what's been giving me issues whenever I use this headset. I also, yeah, let's talk about rules. So last night, in the description of this video down below, you'll see there's a link to the Weekend Warrior podcast. Please go and subscribe to their channel. It's they really are trying to build up their podcast as well. So please just go and give them a nice sub and listen to their podcast that they put out every 2 weeks. Yeah. But last night's one was like super interesting. Good afternoon, Lynn. Um, they had a woman on who tweeted, given the crime and the level of violence in the country, would you consider a gun? And apparently, this just set the whole of Twitter on fire. So she decided, Ruan invited her onto the podcast, and she decided to go on to talk about, firearm ownership as a woman, and what would make you consider that. So yeah, there was just go give it a listen because it's a really good podcast, and I think anybody who might be on the fence might help them decide and whatever. Paul Hart says one gun is not enough. Um, Given the fact that if you are in a defensive shooting, they're probably going to take your gun in for ballistic testing. It's probably a good idea to have more than one handgun for sure. Um, but there was one thing that she said at the end, near to the end of the podcast, that really made me think and gave me the topic for today's stream, is that she doesn't know what's wrong with people, but in lockdown, it seems like they just love rules. Like people are just lapping the rules up and they're making sure that other people follow the rules and stuff like that. So I wanted to have a talk about rules and whether arbitrary rules should be followed or what. Yeah, Paul, she wasn't on a very good connection. I will give you that. It wasn't great, but Gideon and Ruan like really they did a good job, even though they could barely hear her properly and there was a terrible delay. So they did a good job. Good afternoon, Shirley. Um, Lynn, I do not have a gun yet, but that's not what today's stream is about. Today's stream is about rules and following arbitrary rules and feeling like you're in a position that you should help the government enforce arbitrary rules on the citizens. And like I I believe in rules insofar as of course it should be illegal to kill another human being. Of course it should be illegal to steal from another human being. Um, stuff like that. So how this how I look at it is if you are doing something that infringes on somebody else's civil liberties, if you are doing so, enforcing something on somebody else that infringes on their freedom of choice, freedom of movement, freedom of how they express themselves, freedom of how they dress, things like that, anything like that, I am against. And so obviously I'm against protest action like that involves burning down other people's businesses because you're infringing on that business owner's right to conduct business and earn a living. I am against arbitrary lockdown regulations that stop people from doing their jobs, from going to the shops whenever they feel like, from eating in a restaurant if they feel like it, things like that. So I believe that there should be as few rules as possible, and all the other ones that infringe on people's civil liberties should be ditched completely. So there's a good stuff coming in the comments. Most people like rules because they are sheep. Yeah, I think lockdown's definitely shown that. Uh, Not good at rules. I was always a rebel at school and work. Shirley Creed. Yeah, I used to work in a call center, and if there was one thing I hated, it was the fact that I was only allowed to take a coffee break depending on what shift I was on. So if I started at 7 o'clock in the morning, I was only allowed to take my first coffee break at 9:15, and then I had to go on lunch at 11, and then my coffee break after lunch was, I think it was 1:15 or 1 o'clock. And so help you if you even deviated from that slightly, like you were in huge trouble. So like didn't really like those arbitrary rules. Yeah, I wasn't a very good student either, because of their arbitrary rules for, you know, telling children when they can relieve themselves and when they can go to when they're allowed to eat and stuff like that. Not good at that at all. Um, Paul's asking why he should obey the speed limit. He never agreed to it. Um, Paul, I was actually talking to Anton about this we were chatting in the comments on a different live stream. And yes, speed can kill people. So I'm for the fact that if you're on an open highway and there's not another soul around and you want to see just how fast your car can go, I'm all for that. It's when people start speeding in neighborhoods and driving recklessly that infringes on other people's liberties because you can actually take a small child's life away or crash through someone's wall or something like that. So, yeah, that said, has the speed limit really helped helped prevent those sort of accidents? So, Joe Emilio says there is a difference between laws and rules. Laws should be followed. Rules that are reasonable and logical, then they can be followed. However, illogical rules can sack. I absolutely agree with that as well. Arbitrary rules are, they're just not worth it. Like, it's like you're actually just enticing people to break them then. Um, just going down the comments. Oh, no, it jumped. Sorry, guys. Hello, Dodgy Idealist. I'll get your comment now. Mm, some laws can be illogical as well, as we have seen, lockdown or not, and those laws should be challenged. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dodgy was just saying hello. Hello, hello. How's the editing coming? Um, break all the rules, Paul says. Anton's a goody two shoes. Oh, I think Anton likes to speed as well, so always challenge the norm where it is ludicrous. I like it. It's not speed that kills, it's the sudden impact. Yes, your bike goes 300, so do you. That's, you know what, that's your choice. That really is your choice. Just please don't be one of those guys that comes flying past me on the highway and like gives me a skrik of my life because like I couldn't see you coming and then you just gone. Okay, that it really scares me because I do like bikers. I like guys on bikes and I'd like for you to carry on living. So don't skrik me that I might knock you off your bike, please. Most people in this chat do not like rules. Yeah, it seems that way, Joe. Laws are for mathematics and physics, the rest are. I like that. I like that. Um, rules are a guide on how to avoid the rule. Laws or rules should be made by communities, not politicians. Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. It's like, I think in my political ideology, I'm like quite a bit anarchist and then but I'm more localist, if that makes sense, because like your local community can see to the needs of that community because that community knows what it needs. So it knows what rules and laws it needs. It knows how much money it needs for civil services, like be that healthcare, be it schooling, be it anything like that. So yes, I absolutely agree with that. Paul only does 300 on the track. Thank you. Thank you. Because I don't like bikers that scare me on the highway. So thank you. Lynn Erasmus has nursed people who have come off bikes. Bikers always come off second best. And it's a risk. Um, Paul says it's a risk we take to truly feel alive. I'm not going to argue the points. Um, I'm not going to buy my kids motorbikes. But I'm also not going to disown them if they decide that they want to get a motorbike when they're old enough to get one for themselves. So, unfortunately, in this country, my husband would commute to work on a motorbike if he could. He would buy a snowsuit so that it wouldn't be so cold in winter, and he would commute on a motorbike just to save him time and hassle and everything. But with the drivers and everything on the roads in South Africa, he just won't. So, yeah. So, I want to give an example of rules and laws and how I've broken them. So, um, we decided to homeschool our children 3 years ago. So I told my mom that this is what we decided to do. And she said, "But are you allowed to do that?" I was like, "Of course I'm allowed to do it. It's my children." "No, but isn't it against the law?" I was like, "No, it's not against the law to home educate your children. They're your own children. They're your as parents, it's actually your job to educate your children, to be in charge of their education. It's not something that you should be outsourcing, as far as I'm concerned. And so over the years, we've obviously had like a few disagreements about the type of education that the children are receiving and everything. And at the end of the day, I look at it like this, okay? I'm not raising assholes. I'm making sure that they're literate and I'm making sure that they know quite a bit of stuff. I'm also making sure that they know quite a bit of stuff that they don't learn in school, such as um, how to hang a picture, how to bake a cake, how to make their own clothes, how to sew on a button. All of these life skills that we're not teaching in the actual subject called life skills. So, yeah, and it boggled my mind that me being this liberty loving person that I am can have such a different ideology to my own parents that thinks no, the government should absolutely be in charge of how children are educated because only they know how to do it. And I think it's pretty clear that our government doesn't have a freaking clue. Um, if I buy my kids bikes, they will never have money for drugs or booze. This is true. This is true. Shirley would like to drive a tank. Sounds like fun. Yes, Paul, I, I do history and not just what the South African school curriculum says they need to learn, because there's definitely an agenda there where they've tried to rewrite history and try and put forward some other type of ideology. So, and they learn history about other countries as well, not just South African history, which I don't think any country's curriculum actually does. Yes, they do learn how to stuff a pillow as well. They also learn how to make pillows. So, yes, how to iron. Look, I'm pretty crap at ironing, but I can teach them how to cheat at ironing. um, teach my kids how to fight. I don't need to teach them, they're teaching each other. I have two boys. Enough said. Um, Joe Emilio had a scooter accident, broke his leg in 3 areas, will never ride a bike again. Yeah, but Joe Emilio, you were new to the country and you weren't used to driving on the correct side of the road. So, like, I don't know. Maybe you can get back on one day. Essay history syllabus is cuck. What essay history syllabus? Um, I know some hardcore bikers in the chat will get angry that I call a scooter a bike. Both have two wheels. Why are we splitting hairs? Yeah. Dodgy Idealist says that's why you get back up on it. And Paul Hart says a scooter is close enough to a bike, so it's okay. So anyway, yeah, I don't just follow arbitrary rules just because some moron in government has decided This is the blanket approach we need to take, and this will work for every citizen because there is no blanket approach. Communities work differently. Communities in Johannesburg, the suburbs of Johannesburg, are going to need different things than communities in the Transkei. Communities in the CBD of Johannesburg, because that's not like a business district anymore, that's where people are living, um, are going to need more different things than communities in Port Elizabeth, for example. So, this whole blanket rule thing it just doesn't work. And I don't know why people like rules so much. Why do South Africans like rules so much? Do you not understand how important your liberties are? Do you really not understand that? I'm not talking directly to people in this chat because I think I can tell by the comments that you agree with what I'm saying. But yeah, just one moment for me, please. Talking loudly again, distracting me. Joe reckons most bikers would take his head off if he compared scooters to motorbikes. I agree with Paul. Why must I wear a mask? Especially if I'm driving in my car on my own. Joe says it's not that they like rules. The media has done a great job of spreading fear, and fear leads to control. Mm, mm, I disagree there because, like the example with homeschooling and like the whole perception of homeschooling, and are you allowed to do that? And that whole thing, it says to me that people want to be led. They want rules. They want to be told how to live their life. Um, yeah. COVID antibody test shows positive for any coronavirus antibodies. So if you have had a cold, it'll show positive. Yeah, I agree with Paul. If you've already had COVID, you shouldn't have to walk around with a mask. It's a blanket statement, a blanket rule, um, that doesn't work for everybody. And you know what? If it weren't for the fact that my nearly 74-year-old mother lived with me, I would actually be quite okay with getting COVID because I know that, yeah, I might feel like cuck for a few days, and there might be a horrible fever, and it might be really difficult, if all of us get sick at the same time, and but we'll get through it. We're young enough and healthy enough that it's not going to be a problem. So yeah, rules simplify life for most, yeah, because they don't want to have to think about what they need to do or what they should be doing. That was from the Dodgy Idealist. Of course, people want to be led doesn't mean they like rules. Most people don't like rules, they just adhere because of fear of the scamdemic. I'm not even scared of the scamdemic. I'm really not. I'm more scared of what SANDF or SAPS might do. That's what I'm more scared of. Um, Paul Hart was in the Far East in January, was over it before he came home. Okay, so you went patient zero. You didn't bring it. Humans have always been ruled or led by kings, chiefs, presidents, etc. We like leaders. I think in the natural. Bye, Mr. Punisher. Thank you for popping in. Um, I think it's a natural human condition to be led, that people always look towards a leader. They always look for a leader. Um, and they want them to look after them. The thing is, cheers, Dodgy Idealist. Thanks for popping in. The thing is, we take for granted that the leaders actually have our best interests at heart. And quite honestly, I don't think that they do at all have our best interests at heart. Um, they will always put the country first, and if not the country, then their political party, which is typically what the ANC is doing and has been doing for many, many years. So, Paul says most people are too stupid to think for themselves, and that's probably a controversial idea. Um, I think you're not far wrong. I think people haven't been inclined to think for themselves and have no motivation to think for themselves. So it's kind of just, oh, I'll let them make the decision for me. And, it's okay. Do you think the NCCC rules are because they are afraid or because they want to control us? I think they want to control us. I I've yet to see a rational justification for anything that has been put in place. So I do think that they want to. The end game is control from the ANC. The human factor makes leaders flawed, and greed gets in the way. Paul Hart says, I can't see it. They want total control. They are so out of touch with reality, they don't realize they should be afraid right now. I agree. I think the government is our present government that is in control of this entire situation. I think they are power drunk and they're enjoying being in charge of so many people's fates, and to the detriment of millions of people, and they could care less. They really could. So, but yeah, this politics do corrupt. I agree with Paul Hart. Politics. I don't think there is a single clean politician, 100% squeaky clean. I don't think they exist. No. I need nicotine. I think arbitrary rules should definitely be challenged. I think that rules that infringe and laws that infringe on other people's liberties should be challenged. For example, expropriation without compensation. And Joe Emilio actually had a very good chat with Unati Kwaza this morning on his channel. So if you missed that one, go to Joe Emilio's channel and give that one a watch. They believe that everybody should be allowed to carry a gun if they want to. I think that you living in La La Land if you think that we can have a truly gun-free South Africa. Can't happen. Just can't happen. Paul says Armageddon's coming to a street near us soon. There are parts of South Africa that already burning. Joe says Beth for president, and I would make an awful president. I really would. You don't want me as president because you'd be leaderless. You really would. I'd just be like, oh, just get on and do it. Do whatever you want. Khayelitsha is a war zone. Politicians may start out clean, but that doesn't last long. I agree with Shirley on that. Okay, I won't talk about EWC anymore. Let's keep your blood pressure low for one afternoon, Paul. Joe said he felt that conversation got a bit heated with Unati this morning. Really? I don't know, I enjoyed it. Well, I don't like Mashaba anymore either because he flip-flopped. Good, Paul. Good. Good. Politicians have forgotten they are appointed to serve. Their job is roads and water and power, and that's it. Yeah, infrastructure. That's it. That's it. And half the time, you know what? A community can tell you exactly what infrastructure they need. You don't need to come in and say, okay, well, we need this pipe here, and we need this sewage pipe here, and we need a sewage plant there. The community will tell you. So actually, I don't think government even has a job there. And I mean, the Harry Smith heroes are proof that the people can do it. We don't need government to do it for us. Hello, Herman Roos, everybody's favorite tobacco farmer. Hello, Germ Warfare. Um, it's Fluffy. Yes, hello, Fluffy. But isn't it spelled Fluffy like the Afrikaans way? Flaffie. That's how I spell it. Yes, I have a celebrity that watches me. I'm very honored. Very honored. If any of y'all are on Twitter, please go and share a video that Herman actually tagged me in just before I came on. It's about the tobacco farmers. We really need to get this tobacco ban lifted because I think there's going to be massive crops of tobacco that are going to be annihilated by this stupid no smoking rule. Okay? It's an arbitrary rule. We need to get it chucked out. The tobacco farmers need our help. Please share it. Please. Yeah, Herman says they won't need EWC. They are going to kill us off before they change the 1996 Act that gave us freedom. Yeah, yeah. And Herman Roos is going to be on Joe's show tomorrow night, talking about traveling and experiencing different cultures. That sounds awesome. So, like I said, subscribe to Joe Emilio. I owe huge, huge, huge thanks to Joe for this, for inspiring me and pushing me to do this channel, and for doing my logo and all the artwork that you see. All my branding is Joe. So, thank you, Joe. Yes, spelled like that, Paul. Fluffy. Fluffy. Yeah, wine farms, tourism, everything. There's just like, it's got to stop. The arbitrary rules and laws, whatever you want to call them, it's just got to stop. Stop lapping this up. They have fearmongered you into believing that this is a deadly, deadly virus, and we don't need it. We don't need the rules. We don't need, those people that are scared because they're at risk because of their age or they have diabetes or whatever their risk factors are, they can stay home. But the rest of us, let us just carry on. That's all that matters. We don't need rules. We don't need a government to tell us how to live our lives. And we don't need a government to tell us how to combat a virus. Really, we don't. Because this government has failed at everything miserably so far. They asked for 3 weeks so that they could prepare the health sector. What happened? They had to extend it to 5 weeks. And now we're sitting nearly 4 months later with still a lot of our civil liberties taken away from us. Really? Really? No. If Paul Hart started a channel, he would be arrested for sedition. Probably. But yeah, I think I've said everything that I wanted to say on my thoughts on rules and why we don't need them, and why I don't understand why average South Africans think that a libertist society needs all of these cumbersome rules, because we don't. Um, yeah, the government stole 500 billion and the UIF money. That's all they managed to do during lockdown. That's what they did. I do know of one business that apparently got money, and I know of two businesses that did get the TERS money from UIF as well. But that's all I know personally. And it wasn't a lot. Wasn't a lot of money. So yeah. Um yeah, I think this is a good note to end the show on. Have been going for 40 minutes. So yeah, just remember, you don't need rules, you don't need government to tell you how to live your life. That's not their job. Their job is to protect the citizens, and it's not in the interest of liberty to rely on government to keep us safe from a virus or anything. Herman has a comment. The nice thing about this is that we all started our channels because of Germ, Joe, Ramon, and the rest. Thanks to them, they showed us that you can still voice your opinion without fear. Absolutely. Absolutely. Paul says he would swear too much. I I normally do swear quite a bit, Paul, and I've actually I have been self-censoring because I don't want to offend too many people. So yeah, YouTube can't take your video down because you swear. They just won't monetize it. That's all. Joe started because of Ronaldo Haas. He inspired him. I started because there's not enough women in this space. Like I wanted to give content that's by women for women, and apparently YouTube's not the platform for that because something like 70% of American YouTube, like registered YouTube users, are male. So that Ronaldo Oak is a politician. Okay, we're not going to rip Ronaldo to shreds because he is very giving of his advice and everything. Um, and he does help other creators and everything. So we're not going to rip him to shreds. We're not, because he's a good guy. What he does for a day job is, in some respects, separate to his YouTube channel, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Ronaldo's been super supportive of Joe's channel. Um, yes, he runs a ward, but he is a good guy and he's been super supportive of his channel. Yeah. No, he's a good guy. He is a good guy. Do I watch all of his content? No. Um, I don't have time. I don't watch all of Germ's content. I don't watch all of Ramon's content. Like, I don't have time for that. But I'm not gonna bad speak the guy at all. He he does a good job. He wouldn't have been voted in his ward if he didn't do a good job as well. So thank you, Harman. Yeah, yeah. I feel that it's important to get women's voices out on YouTube as well. There's not a lot of female creators, um, and the ones that there are, it's like, today I'm going to organize my pantry, and then the next video will be what I eat in a day, and I'm like, it's vapid. Like, I don't care about that cock. I really don't. Politicians should be paid by their constituents based on performance. I agree, because then they'd have skin in the game. They would have skin in the game. They really would. Because if they were successful, then they'd get performance bonuses based on that. And that's all they'd get in terms of a salary. So, yeah. You don't like ASM stuff? Really? That's the sound stuff, right? Like people people that fixate on sounds. So you don't want that. No, sorry. Daddy has my headset because I'm using this one. Huh? Sorry, viewers. Yes, that's mine. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up the stream now, then I'll give you a headset, okay? Okay. Okay, guys, I gotta go. My son wants to do a reading game and he wants headphones, so I need to go help him. ASMR, don't know where they make that weird sounds and people watch. Yeah, I know, I don't get that either. I really don't. And it's obviously highly searched for because my kids like to watch a show called The Axel Show. Okay. And when I search on YouTube and I just put in A, the first thing that comes up is ASMR. So it's obviously highly, highly searched for. So, Herman says, if I want a soup recipe, I will go to my grandmother. Absolutely. Or I'll look for a blog post or something like that. Like, I don't care what these influencers eat in a day, because they're vegetarian, or they can't eat egg, or they're gluten intolerant. Like, oh, please do me a favor. Do me a favor. If I wanted that, I would spend my day on Instagram. but I don't because that's not what I'm looking for. So, anyway, yeah, I must go. Yes, I'm still here. Exactly. I can't be president because my kids would be interrupting. Like every time I have to sign something into law or whatever, I'll just be like, hold on. Yes, what is it that you need, dear? Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But you know what I always say, guys? Thank you to Shirley Creed and Linda van Rooyen that have obviously stayed till the end and just being quiet in the comments. But thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody that has joined me here this afternoon. You guys have been awesome. Um, I think we had a good chat about rules and why we shouldn't have too many of them. The sun is starting to shine in my eyes, so it really is time to sign off. Don't wear a mask if you don't have to. Stay safe out there. And just remember, liberty is the way. Don't let them take away your liberties. Cheers.